are the weekend's top stories. Anthrax has had an outbreak in Southern California, to which surfers replied, "Dude, were those waves gnarly or what? I've got bumps all over my body from how gnarly those waves were." Anthrax is a serious infectious disease caused by gram-positive rod-shaped bacteria known as Bacillus anthracis. Anthrax can be found naturally in soil and commonly affects domestic and wild animals around the world. The type of illness a person develops depends on how anthrax enters the body. There are 3 types of anthrax: cutaneous anthrax, which happens when anthrax spores get into the skin; inhalation anthrax, which occurs when a person breathes in anthrax spores; and gastrointestinal anthrax, which happens when a person ingests anthrax spores. All types of anthrax can eventually spread throughout the body and cause death if they are not treated with antibiotics. Anthrax is thought to have originated in Egypt or Mesopotamia. In 1876, Robert Koch studied Bacillus anthracis, the bacterium that causes anthrax. He discovered that bacteria form spores and were able to survive for very long periods of time in many different environments. In 1881, Louis Pasteur created the first vaccine for anthrax in animals. In the 1950s, the first human vaccine for anthrax was created. The first deliberate uses of anthrax as an act of aggression were recorded in early decades of the 1990s during World War I. To help us understand anthrax, we invited the crazy guy from across the street.
Y'all need to hear some of these causes and risk factors. People get infected with anthrax when spores get into the body. When anthrax spores get inside the body, they can be activated. When they become active, the bacteria can multiply, spread throughout the body, and produce toxins or poisons, and cause severe illness. People are dying. They're dying because of this here illness. Cutaneous anthrax is the most common form of anthrax and is also considered to be the least dangerous. Infection usually develops 1 to 7 days after exposure. Without treatment, up to 20% of people with cutaneous anthrax may die. However, with proper treatment, almost all patients with cutaneous anthrax survive. Without treatment, only 10 to 15 patients of inhalation anthrax survive. However, with aggressive treatment, 55% of patients survive. Gastrointestinal anthrax has been rarely reported in the United States. Infection usually develops 1 to 7 days after exposure. Without treatment, more than half of the patients with gastrointestinal anthrax die. However, with proper treatment, 60% of patients survive.
Symptoms are varied depending on the type of anthrax. The symptoms of cutaneous anthrax include a small group of blisters or bumps that may itch, and a painless sore with a black center that appears after the small blisters or bumps. Most often, a sore will be on the face, neck, arms, or hands, and swelling can occur around the sore. The symptoms of inhalation anthrax include fevers and chills, chest discomfort, shortness of breath, confusion or dizziness, cough, nausea, vomiting, and stomach pains. Also, headache, sweats, extreme tiredness, and body aches. Symptoms of gastrointestinal anthrax include fever and chills, swelling of the neck or neck glands, sore throat, painless swallowing, hoarseness, nausea and vomiting, diarrhea or bloody diarrhea, headache, flushing of the and red eyes, stomach pain, fainting, and swelling of the abdomen.
There's an explanation why these people here are getting sick. It's the aliens. The aliens are getting people sick.
Actually, there are explanations and even diagnostic treatments to diagnose anthrax. Anthrax is rare in the United States, and CDC guidance and case definitions are available to help doctors diagnose anthrax. Medical treatments for anthrax include antibiotics. All types of anthrax infections can be treated with antibiotics, including intravenous antibiotics. Antitoxin. Antitoxins target anthrax toxins in the body.
There's no prevention against anthrax. Anthrax is going to kill us all, and the aliens are going to rule the world.
Actually, there are ways to prevent the disease that includes antibiotics. Antibiotics can prevent anthrax from developing in people who have been exposed but have not developed symptoms. Ciprofloxacin and doxycycline are 2 antibiotics that can be used to prevent anthrax. Vaccines are also important in helping to prevent the disease. There are also vaccines. While there is a vaccine license to prevent anthrax, it is not typically available for the general public. Anthrax vaccine absorbed protects against cutaneous and inhalation anthrax. According to the limited but well-researched evidence, the vaccine is approved by the Food and Drug Administration for at-risk adults before exposure to anthrax. Currently, the FDA has not approved the vaccine, but prefers for use after exposure for anyone. If inhalation anthrax is suspected, chest x-rays or CT scans can confirm if the patient has mediastinal widening or pleural effusion, which are x-ray findings typically seen in patients with inhalation anthrax. The only way to confirm a diagnosis of anthrax is to either test blood directly for Bacillus anthracis or measure antibodies or toxins in blood. Samples must be taken before the patient begins taking antibiotics. So that's all we have for the weekend update. I'm Neko Okoro. Good night.